The deep silence of 3 a.m. wasn't shattered by a sharp crack, but torn apart by a sticky, repulsive noise. A wet chewing, a loud slurp. While the world slept, a sound like a wild animal tearing at a carcass echoed from the dark kitchen. Bathed in the pale, sickly light of a half-open refrigerator stood the silhouette of a man. He was shoveling food from a container into his mouth with his bare hands. The sour kimchi juice trickled down his wrist and dripped onto the floor, but he didn't care. A foul stench, a mix of stale cigarette smoke and the unwashed odor of a vagrant, filled the air. Sensing my presence, the man slowly turned his head. A greasy, cruel smirk played on his lips. "Your cooking has changed, honey," he said. Those were the first words from my husband, Park Cheol-min, after he abandoned us 10 years ago. To understand this monstrous reunion, we must go back and relive Young-suk's last 10 years of hell. The day Cheol-min vanished in the dead of night, taking every last cent of their rent deposit with him, her world collapsed. To keep her 2 small children from living on the streets, she took any job she could find, from scrubbing dishes in restaurant kitchens to cleaning office buildings after dark. It was a time of brutal, relentless work, a time when her fingernails broke and her fingerprints literally wore away. Now, finally, she had managed to open her own small diner. Her children were grown. For the first time in a decade, she could breathe. And it was at that exact moment that he rolled back into her life, like a ticking time bomb. Empty-handed, and utterly without shame. Cheol-min's return was far from a tearful homecoming. He sprawled out in the middle of the master bedroom as if he'd just stepped out for a walk. "Get me some water," he commanded his adult son with a flick of his chin, without a hint of remorse. As he threw off his ragged jacket, a cascade of crumpled, used-up horse racing tickets and mysterious, colorful pills spilled onto the floor. "Business got a little tough," he mumbled, "just needed to clear my head." But Young-suk wasn't fooled. The loose belt, the black grime under his fingernails, the shifty eyes that never stopped scanning the room. He hadn't come back as a husband. He had returned as a homeless, penniless parasite looking for a host. Her children were furious, screaming that they should call the police immediately. "You don't get to be a father after you stopped being a man," her son yelled. But through it all, Young-suk was unnervingly calm. No, not calm. She was cold. Frozen. "Leave him be," she said, her voice flat. "He is still your father. Let's just watch him for a few days." This wasn't forgiveness. This was the cold observation of a predator watching its prey. Young-suk knew that if she threw him out now, he would just become a leech, forever circling her children, begging for money, tormenting them. To cut him out of their lives for good, she needed more. She needed the perfect trap. Cheol-min began his parasitic existence in earnest. By day, he would loiter by the cash register at Young-suk's diner, his hands dipping into the till when he thought no one was looking. By night, he monopolized the living room sofa, king of the remote control. The house was constantly filled with the sound of his rattling cough and the blare of the television. Then, the final straw for the children, the laptop his daughter desperately needed for her job search, vanished. When the pawn shop ticket was found in his back pocket, he didn't apologize. He exploded. "After everything I did to raise you, you cry over a stupid laptop?" It was a breathtaking lie from the man who had abandoned them a decade before. But as her family's fury reached its peak, Young-suk's behavior grew even stranger. Instead of anger, she showed affection. Every night, she prepared a feast fit for a king, just for Cheol-min. "Darling, I made your favorite pork belly," she'd coo, "extra salty, just how you like it." The table groaned under the weight of glistening, fatty meats, intensely seasoned stews, and bottle after bottle of strong soju. Cheol-min, convinced his wife was still desperately in love with him, devoured it all like a starving wolf. His bloated stomach strained against his shirt, his face flushed a dangerous red with alcohol. And Young Suk just watched, silently, refilling his glass the moment it was empty. You see, there was something Young Suk knew. Just days before his return, a friend who cleaned at the local hospital had told her about a patient. A man named Park Cheol-min. He had severe diabetes, dangerously high blood pressure, and a brain aneurysm that could burst at any moment. The doctor had warned him that alcohol and greasy food were not just unhealthy, they were poison. Every meal Young Suk served wasn't an act of love. It was a dose of a sweet, fatty poison. With every greasy bite Cheol-min shoveled into his mouth, the ticking time bomb in his veins ticked a little faster. This wasn't kindness. It was a carefully calculated fattening before the kill. Full of food and drunk on liquor, Cheol-min finally revealed his true purpose. "Honey, I've got this incredible business idea." He slurred. "I just need a little seed money. 100 grand. We can just take out a small loan against the house. I'll pay you back in no time." The audacity was stunning. His children were speechless, but Young Suk's reply was even more shocking. "Oh? How much do you need?" she asked calmly. His eyes glittered with that familiar, predatory greed. Young Suk retrieved a manila envelope from a drawer and placed it on the table. "I'll sign the papers tomorrow. For tonight, let's have one more drink to celebrate." Cheol-min let out a triumphant laugh and drained his glass. The fateful night wore on. Cheol-min was staggering, drunk on his victory. But then, it happened. Ugh! He suddenly clutched his chest, grabbing the edge of the table before collapsing to the floor. An excruciating pain tore through his abdomen, and the room began to spin violently. The lethal combination of alcohol and grease had finally overwhelmed his ravaged body. A pained groan escaped his lips. "Honey, my medicine, please." He reached out a trembling hand, trying to grab the hem of her pants. But Young Suk didn't move. She simply stood over him, her gaze as cold and distant as if she were looking at an insect. "Are you in much pain?" she asked, her voice low and empty. 10 years ago, when our children cried from hunger, this is exactly how my heart felt. Even through the agony, Cheol-min knew something was terribly wrong. Young Suk slowly bent down and picked up the envelope from the table. She opened it and held the papers in front of his face. Through his blurry vision, he could see the words. It was not a loan application. It was a divorce agreement. And underneath it, a restraining order. His eyes widened in pure terror. What is this?" "Oh, don't be so surprised. There's more." Young Suk pulled out her smartphone. On the screen was a video, clear as day, of Cheol-min threatening his daughter for money. Another clip showed him stealing from the restaurant's cash box. "Should I send this to the police?" she mused. "Or, should I send it to those special friends of yours who have been looking for you so desperately?" At the mention of his friends, Cheol-min's face went white as a sheet. She knew. She knew he wasn't just broke. He was on the run from violent loan sharks. "Your friends told me," she continued, her voice a deadly whisper, "that when they find you, they'll be taking more than just one kidney." It wasn't a bluff. From the day he had arrived, she had seen the men in black suits watching her house. She gave him his final choice. "You sign these papers right now and walk out that door. Or you can wait here for the police, or for them." He had no choice. Writhing in pain, slick with a cold sweat, he pressed his trembling thumb onto the divorce papers. The red ink spread across the page, a vivid stain, just like the wound he had left on their family. The moment he lifted his thumb, Young Suk threw his bag out the front door. "Get out. Get out of my house, and get out of my children's lives forever." He staggered out into the hallway. The warmth of the home he tried to infest vanished instantly, replaced by the cold, sterile air of the corridor. But the real horror was just beginning. At the entrance to the apartment building, tucked into the shadows of the unlit parking lot, a black van was waiting, its engine humming softly. A moment before, while he was collapsed on the floor, Young Suk had sent a simple text message to his creditors. "He's coming out now." As Jeolmin stepped outside, burly figures emerged from the darkness. "Hey! Who are you?" A desperate scream tore from his throat, but it was quickly muffled by a heavy hand. He was dragged away, his struggles useless against his captors. The parasite who had tried to bleed his family dry was now just prey for a much larger predator. This was his end. Young Suk's expression never changed, even as the muffled shouts echoed from outside. She calmly and deliberately locked the front door. A heavy, metallic click settled the air in the house. It wasn't the sound of a door being secured. It was the sound of a 10-year nightmare finally being locked away forever. Her daughter watched from the doorway. "Mom," she asked softly, "are you okay?" Instead of answering, Young Suk just let out a long, slow breath and walked back to the dining table. On the table lay the remnants of his gluttony, a dirty bowl and a half-empty bottle of soju. Young Suk pulled on a pair of rubber gloves and, without a moment's hesitation, scraped the leftovers into a garbage bag. The only sound was the soft thud of discarded food. For the first time in days, the air in the house felt clean. She took a cloth and wiped the table with firm, steady strokes, erasing every last trace of his existence. Outside, the night was perfectly, blessedly silent. Not even the sound of the van's engine could be heard as it disappeared into the darkness.